Good evening, RHET3316 students. I'm going to give a video instruction about using the library databases. Some of you are doing a great job, and I think some of you may need a little more help just to see what it looks like when you're doing searches in the library databases. I'm going to use two examples from your discussion posts. Paige started out by sharing this Medical News Today article. She was following the suggestion that I had last week to find an article in one of these medical news type things. Another one that might be helpful is Healthline, and another one that might be helpful is Science Daily. And all of them have articles about delayed cord clamping. And these articles, these are not, I'm not suggesting that you use these as the actual source, but rather that you try to find information about research on these topics, because usually these are articles about new and recent research. This particular one that you found was from 2013, which is a little bit old when we're talking about some of these health news. So one of the things we might want to do is see if there's something more recent. There's some helpful information in it. They report their findings online in a July 7th issue of the Cochrane Database of Systematic Reviews. So that's telling you something really important. There is this database called the Cochrane database. Well, I've seen it more usually called as a library. So I've shifted here to the Cochrane Library. And I actually did a search for cord clamping, which appears to be the common term. And you see that the Cochrane Review compilation has a variety of articles, including the one that was referred to in the what was it called? The Medical News Daily, where we have Philippa Middleton as one of the authors, and you can click on it and actually get to the entire article, background, objectives, search methods, selection criteria, etc. And so what you get in these Cochrane Library sort of reviews are very short articles that are kind of providing the summary data. So what you may want to do is actually find more detailed articles. And with that, what you would want to do is actually go to the library databases. How do you get to the library at ULR? Well, most of these, if you click on them, you can find the library. Okay. If you ever have something like that happen where it looks like somehow it's not loading properly, try clicking refresh. If that doesn't work, try reopening the browser. And if that doesn't work, try getting rid of the history. So what we want to use are databases. And the way that I'm suggesting you access is you start at the databases A to Z list. I have already logged in earlier this evening, and so it didn't ask me for my net ID and login information, but if it's the first time in this session that you have logged in, it will ask you for it. Go to this section here called subjects and look for nursing. And what they've done is, because there's so many databases, they've grouped them in by discipline. And it tells you here that there's these Nursing Reference Center Plus and Medline Plus, but the best bets are at the top. And the best bet and popular is CINAHL Complete. So we click on that. Turns out CINAHL Complete is a EBSCO database. And actually Medline is also. So one of the things that's nice about the EBSCO databases is that EBSCO has purchased a lot of different databases and on different topics, political science, psychology. We're going to click on the Medline along with the CINAHL. And we know that Philippa Middleton is the author of some research on this. So we start by searching for her name. And lo and behold, we actually get a list of quite a lot of things. Now, it's a list of 393 items. I don't think that all of them will have her as the author, but the first ones, the sort of the default way of organizing is by relevance. So they will actually, if there are articles by Philippa Middleton, then we'll get those first. And notice that the very first article here has a date of April 2021. So in fact, the original reference that Paige had was back in 2013, 2014. Turns out this is a research group and they have been publishing quite a lot of articles about their research on umbilical cord management or cord clamping. So you see that that Philippa Middleton has actually published on a lot of different things. They all seem to be relation to pregnancy and delivery, but we want to look at cord clamping. So we're going to add cord clamping as an item. I think we'll just put it in the text, all text. That's the biggest thing. That actually leaves us to cord clamp to 6 articles that she is an author about cord clamping or cord management. You see this one, umbilical cord management at term and late preterm birth, a meta-analysis, that was also quite recent, March 2021. And she's one of the authors. And one of the best things to do when you're researching is if you find something that looks like it's going to be relevant, then you can mine it, is what I say. All of these articles are going to have subject terms that are used for searching in them. And so you see here that cord clamping is in fact one of the subject terms. And so one of the things you can do is click on that subject term. And now what you've got are all the umbilical cord clamping articles that are available in the database. Now, they go from 2012 to 2021. And so you might decide to narrow that a little. For now, I think I'll just leave it. One way to narrow it is to make sure it's just academic journals. That gets it down to 134. And then under the publication date, you'll see it says show more. These are other ways of narrowing. And I've said that you need to do academic sources. And so you would want to look for some limiters for things that are academic or research-based and peer-reviewed. If you saw the video about the difference between scholarly and popular articles, you will know what that means. References available will also help narrow. And this may have narrowed it too much because it narrowed out something that I already thought was useful. So we will go back to our list of 134 and just see if we can work with those. A randomized controlled trial of intact cord milking versus immediate cord clamping in term infants born by elective cesarean section. Randomized controlled trial tells us that it is a research based article, that they've actually done a particular one. And then another one that looks helpful is right after it, is this umbilical cord management, a meta-analysis. Now, one of the things that you'll see with both of those is that they both say check library catalog for this journal and get from another library. Do not panic if that happens. We have a very good interlibrary loan system. You just click on that. And if it's the first time you've ever done it, it will ask you to log in to your net ID and your your interlibrary loan account. But what will happen is the source that you were looking at will automatically populate the request. All you have to do is add the date and then click submit request. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, because I don't personally need the article. They will send you an email within a day or two that it's there and ask you to go back into your account, and you can actually download it. So if you look here, here is my account, and here are articles that I have requested. So this was one for somebody's topic I was thinking about. Other articles that I've looked for in the past, and it allows you to re-ask for it if you've allowed it to expire by mistake. But basically, they'll give you a PDF. It'll get here in a day or two, and you'll be able to use it right away. So this is one of the articles that Philippa Middleton did. So it does appear that we have a subscription to to the Journal of Pediatrics, and that we have been getting it since 2000. I'm not sure if it will, well, it says last updated March 2019. So it's not clear whether we have it. If we have it, it's going to be on the 3rd floor of the library, and you would make a photocopy there. So in fact, it's usually a little better if we don't have it, because then the interlibrary loan people will get you the article directly. Now I want to point out something that they have over here, a lot of tools that you can use. One of them is you can print this entry. Another one that's quite convenient is you can email the entry. You can save it to a folder. And one that I'm sure you'll all like to see is that you can cite, since you're going to have to learn how to cite for this next, for doing the annotated bibliography. And by citing, I mean to put it in a reference list. Now, there are lots of different kinds of citation formats, and the library EBSCO database and all the other databases, almost all of them, have a citation tool. So you'll be looking for the one that's APA 7th edition. That gives you information about it when you click on that. And over here is, in fact, an APA citation. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is that these citation tools are computers and they make mistakes. So it's important that you actually learn the proper way to do the citing so that you can make sure that they haven't done it wrong. In this particular case, they have capitalized all the words in the title, which is not what APA requires. APA requires what's called sentence case. And so you can actually copy this, cut and paste, or you can go up to this email and you can ask it to email you the citation. You have to change it. The default for some reason is MLA. You ask them to email it to yourself or whatever. You put your comments, put the subject line so you know what it is, and they will send you what they have by email. So that was an example of how you can go from some kind of information that you get out on the web to then use that information to look for more academic scholarly articles within the databases. The second example I'm going to give is one where we start with the database and just do kind of a broad search that we keep trying to narrow down. Janae, I think, was looking at thinking about a topic, something to do with racism in nursing. And she included a few articles from that she obtained through JSTOR. They don't have the date in them, and so I don't know much about the particular articles. But I want to point out that there's a difference between JSTOR and these databases that I'm asking you to do. The store in the name of JSTOR kind of gives it away. It's not so much a database as a storage place for articles, always in PDF, which is why people really like to use it. But it's not a good place to start because it only stores things, and it has what's called a wall of the publishing. So JSTOR is a little less expensive than some of these others. And one of the reasons is they do not include recent publications in there. They will, for every journal, they will have some kind of moving limitation on what they carry. So it might be an 18-month limitation, it might be a 2-year, might be a 5-year limitation. And what that means is they only start publishing from 5 years back. And anything between 5 years ago and now is not included. This is what enables JSTOR to be a little less expensive. The publishing companies tend towards it because they want to get people to purchase their journals. Now we are in a changing kind of transition point on this. There is a movement towards more and more open source, but still in terms of academic research, the majority is not open source. The majority is only available behind these very expensive subscription databases that you get access to as a student. So I want to do a search. I'm going to do a new search. Whoops, we may need to start all over. Let me close down anything that I've got. So again, we're going to start with the nursing databases. Start with CINAHL, going to add Medlines. And I'm going to start with this just opens search topic. And you see there's 2,670 sources, a little bit too many. You can go down here and look at the dates. It goes from 1943 to 2021. Let's narrow this down to, say, to the year 2000. And we still have over 2,000 sources. Let's narrow it down to academic journals. And we still have too many. So let's take a look at the subject headings. So racism is there. Let's see if there's any conversation in nursing on race and racism. So When you can find something that says discourse, that says a review of the literature, that's a really good thing, because what that's doing is they have done all this research and they are looking at all these sources and doing some kind of an analysis about it. And this was done in 2021, so it's very recent. And if you look at the abstract, barrier and source of inequality for ethnic minorities in nursing practice and education, aim to determine whether racism and institutionalized racism are explicitly named in the titles and abstracts of peer-reviewed publications on nursing education, leadership, and the nursing profession. So that actually suggests some ways to narrow too. You might be more interested in nursing education or in nursing as a profession or leadership, and narrowing it to one of those might be helpful. So let's just take nursing as a profession. And maybe instead of racism, use the term discrimination, because it looked like a lot of them did that. Now, when I clicked on nursing as a profession, it came up as MM, nursing as a profession. And that MM is a major subject header. Let's see what happens when we take nursing as a profession plus discrimination. So that gives us this article that we just saw, and it gets us down to 84. We don't have our time limited anymore. Let's go back there. That gets us down to 41. So that's a reasonable number to take a look at. What do you get in an entry? You get the list of all the authors, and notice that they're hot linked. That means you can click on any one of those and see anything else they've written. You get a hot link list of what the link to the profession, to the name of the article, the journal title itself. When you do that, notice what you do get here is a list of dates. And so basically you can browse through it. You can also search within this publication. So let's say, so it says here, we're searching in the Journal of Public Health Nursing. And let's say we want to do racism or discrimination as subject terms. So there is quite a lot of sources on that. I think the problem is that they're reading the or there. So what we need to do is so it's public health nursing and racism or discrimination. That makes more sense. That brings us up that article. And then a variety of things. It really looks like these first two sources are probably the best. Now, again, we get this thing that says get from another library, but in this case, it also gives us the option to get full text. And what you'll get is up here, it'll say full text finder results. You click on that, And then it says, find this text from EBSCO host smart links. And that takes you to this Public Health Nursing, which is a Wiley online library. And again, it's something that UALR has purchased. And so you get the whole article here. And since this is a review article, one of the things you might want to do is, as you read this, you will find that there are all these other articles being referred to, and you click on any one of them, and it gives you that citation. And so there may in fact be many other sources that are useful. So an article that's barriers to career advancement in the nursing profession, perceptions of Black nurses in the United States, Nursing Forum, and it's all integrated in within UALR's library system. And you click on that. And it takes you to that article as well, which you have access to because of UALR. And so this is a topic that probably you'll find more than you need. And so what you'll want to do is very carefully narrow down so that you only get the best sources for what you want to talk about. Then again, I want to remind you about the citation creator and the other tools that are over here. So there, you can click on cite, look for APA 7th, and here's the format. In this case, I think they've done it correctly. The other thing that's useful is the folder idea. And so EBSCO allows you to create a folder system. And what it did here is link to this folder. I could sign in. If I signed in, well, I guess there's a problem. If I signed in, you would see that I have a folder of all these different resources that I've collected. And this way you can keep track of what you're doing. You can save things, you can print things, and so that way you can kind of organize your research. Again, to get from another library, you could click on that. That will take you to the interlibrary loan aspect, and you can request it. But as I said, in this case, the article is available to us through the ULR library and the Wiley online library. So the key thing that I wanted you to get out of that is that you can play around with your search terms, and also that there is a storage option within EBSCO using the folders. So I hope that this brief summary of of a couple searches is helpful for you, and you will use these tools as you research for your final project.